Good morning. Today is August 16th, 2024. It is 9:01 a.m. in the Selectmen's Chambers. I'd like to call the Board of Selectmen meeting to order and roll call, please.
Teresa A. Morse present.
Joe Shank present.
Chad Sexton Duranian present. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to thank all those who are currently in service, both past and present. I also want to thank our first responders for keeping our freedoms. This meeting is being recorded. I'm hoping it's going to be up on Channel 9 Live. It is going then to be uploaded to YouTube. 1.4, Chairman's additions and deletions.
You want to
I do
find
not
out if
have
anybody
any.
else is recording?
Is anybody else recording? Any additions and deletions from the board?
I don't have anything.
Joe, no?
No.
1.5, review and approve the meeting minutes. I asked not to do that. I wanted to get right to the meat and potatoes of what our meeting is for today. We have no appointments. We have no appointment of officials, and we'll go right into meeting business. 4.1, discuss and vote special town meeting motions and other preparations.
We may want to move to the next one, talk about the trash fees first, and then come back to motions, if that's okay.
Does the board want to do that?
That's fine with me.
I mean, we already voted these motions, so I don't quite understand where we're gonna go.
Depending on what we want to do with the trash fees, we may change the article on that was appropriated in the 25,000.
All right, we'll go to 4.2 first then. Discuss and vote trash for collection for the fee collection process. Before I start, I wanted to ask a couple of questions. Teresa, has anybody reached out to you in the last 24, 48 hours as far as a resident or anybody in regards to the trash fee collection process?
No, but I have very poor service up here, so I have not been getting many phone calls.
Okay.
But I didn't see anything.
Okay. Joe, have you had anybody reach out to you in regards to the
Yes,
trash
I
fee
have.
process?
Yes, I have.
Okay. I have as well. And we did have a meeting of the Board of Selectmen. Teresa, you were not there. Were you able to view or read anything that we talked about in that?
No, I have to wait till I get home and then I'm going to try to bring it up.
Okay. In that meeting, it was Joe and myself, and we went over the warrant articles that we had all been given. You read over all the warrant articles, correct?
Yes, I have.
Okay. We voted that that's what we were gonna move forward to the special town meeting. Did you have any issues with any of those articles?
Not technically, no. I mean, we'll see what happens on the town floor.
Okay. So are you comfortable with what we have, what Joe and I voted on in that particular meeting as far as the articles are concerned?
Yes.
Okay. So I just want to be clear that the board is unanimous on the articles that are going forward in the town meeting.
Okay. That's fine.
Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that is unanimous on the board that we are moving forward with what we discussed in our last meeting. In our last meeting, when it came to trash fee collection, it was decided by the board that we were going forward with a process that was brought out from a meeting that I personally had attended. And it was to create or to codify the article in the special town meeting that would be asking the town for $25,000. This is Article 6, to codify the article that we all agreed on, for $25,000, in regards to staffing costs and the process to collect curbside trash fees, which was estimates of $8,440 for staff salaries and $16,560 for invoicing, mailing, and software. That is what was decided in the last meeting. Since then, apparently there was a couple of other meetings that were conducted, which then brought a draft of the Town of Townsend curbside pay-as-you-throw implementation plan. On this, it says that it was developed by, and it names the interim town administrator, the town treasurer, the Board of Health, and the Selectboard, and a representative from Mass DEP. I want to be very clear, this draft was not brought in front of the Board of Selectmen, nor was it discussed in open meeting for the Board of Selectmen to talk about. And I want to be very clear about that. The second thing.
Can I ask a question though?
Go ahead.
During that meeting, didn't we, to me, pay as you go is a fee. It's just a different way to pay a fee. But didn't we ask the interim town administrator to research fees, what they should be, how we should do it? Weren't those I just assumed those was an outshoot of us going for, because I did see some of that information outshoot of us directing the interim town administrator.
That is correct, Teresa.
Okay, and that's what
the-
this meeting is for, to go over what happened since that direction.
That is correct. What actually, that particular committee, or not committee, but that, they are all, it was the town treasurer, it was the accountant, it was the interim town administrator. It was on any board, any department that would be affected by the trash fees. And the purpose of that, to my understanding, was to develop a way in which we can pay for or create the fee to cover the trash costs that the town has already agreed on with Shaw's, correct?
That's my understanding, and the follow-up for the meeting, their meeting, is they're bringing the information to the Board of Selectmen today.
Correct. So
Okay.
my concern is there's a draft that says it was developed by the Select Board, and the Select Board had nothing to do with this draft, is what I'm saying.
Well, if we direct the interim town administrator, then I think it's semantics. I think we do have something to do with the development of it.
May I comment?
Not yet. When the Board of
I think
Selectmen,
it's just semantics. Well, why is that a concern, I guess? Because they
Well,
think the selectmen met and discussed this without it being a public meeting? Is that the concern?
no, the concern is the information was then brought to the Finance Committee. In the Finance Committee, there were several, they're open meetings, so people now are assuming that this is the Board of Selectmen's avenue to move forward. And we haven't voted on it yet. We haven't even discussed it. This is the first time that we've discussed it.
Gotcha. Okay.
All right. Joe?
Mr. Chair, thanks. All right. So first of all, we were very clear, at least I was, in my understanding, when we voted on that night, that we were going to set up how we were going to pay for, which we have the Article 6 of $25,000 to come up with what we needed to get that done. We were going to take the full amount of money that the trash contract was, divide that by the households, and move on that way. That is what I voted on, that's what I discussed. I never discussed this draft. And Teresa is absolutely wrong, stating that this is just an offshoot of what we did. If we gave committees the go-ahead to say, all right, listen, just come with better ideas. We talked about it, we voted on it. I was absolutely flabbergasted when I seen this draft in my email. Nothing I voted on. The townspeople voted for us to cut. This is what we voted on. And I'm a little concerned how this got out into the public. And this is created a problem, especially saying that it's developed by the Board of Selectmen. I had no say in it. I never knew about it. I never seen it, never heard it until just yesterday when I printed it. That's all I have to say.
And when were you aware of this draft, Teresa?
I was able to, I went into town and was able to get some of my, open some email. So it's probably like 2 days ago.
Okay. Having said that, I have two major concerns before we discuss any of this. Concern number one is that we, the Board of Selectmen, have been very diligent, as far as I understand it, in regards to the budget process. I have been very careful in regards to going over all of the ins and outs of what's going on in regards to both the reason why we're here today is basically because of the school budget and the town budget and how those two mesh together and our deficit that's involved in those two particular departments. Number one. Number two is I believe that in the last vote that the Board of Selectmen had, we were to move forward with what we were doing and then come up with future ideas of how we are going to deal with the trash. Am I wrong in that thinking?
You're correct.
Okay. Well, I don't want to be accused that I'm taking the liberty to run the town on my own, because when I hear things like that, I personally have been very fair to the Board of Selectmen in regards to everybody's opinion, and I've been very careful to make sure that we are all on the same page before a decision is made. I personally do not make decisions for the Board of Selectmen without bringing it in front of the board. Are we in agreement with that?
I agree 100%.
Teresa, are you in agreement with that?
Yes.
Right. Now, having said that, I'm going to ask the board, how do you want to proceed with this vote for trash collecting process before I open it up to the floor?
Well, as I said, I believe that a fee is a fee, but we determined much to while I was still there, I said I really felt that we should reopen the question one more time for an override, and that did not go over well with the other two Board of the Selectmen. So that left us, the only other place, in my opinion, to get money was through a fee. Now, how we incorporate that fee, said we would look into the different ways. And I myself, looking around the different towns and whatever, even from those meetings, realized that there are some real advantage to pay as you throw fee, collecting the fee in a pay as you throw way. So it would be my desire that if we are going to go forward, which in my opinion, we have to now go forward, we have no other choice, that the fairest way, especially the way to save money for our seniors, the way to help out the community, because it has been documented that pay as you throw does decrease the amount of trash that's eliminated. That pay as you throw is the best way to collect that fee.
Okay. Joe?
I am gonna stand firm on what we voted for. That's what we discussed, that's what we voted on. One thing I don't like is to be blindsided, get an email, and change 100% what we discussed. My opinion, the town spoke. The best way to do this is to be fair across the board. I understand and I feel very sympathetic for all the seniors and everybody else. Well, I'm in the senior class too, but the right way to do this, straight across the board, take the 3,104 households, divide what we got, that's what we gotta pay. And if we start by throw by your pay, it's not gonna work. There's gonna be white trash bags all around the town. All our town dumpsters are gonna be filled up with people's trash because they're not paying. We voted, move on.
So
All right.
as I said, Joe, Chaz, if you don't mind me asking, as I did not get to see that meeting, was it to determine a fee? Or was it to determine an individual household fee?
Um,
And was it a vote or was it moved?
yes, what we voted on,
Okay.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Teresa, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
We voted on the articles that we are presenting to, the town. In those articles that we are presenting to the town is an article for $25,000 to, cover staffing fees and software and implementation fees for a fee program per quarter to start on October 1st, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Right. But that would be the administration, right? That fee program could still be the way that you just said it. The fee program could be a pay as you throw. It could be any type of fee program. It would be for the staffing and the administration, the software needed. We might decide with the pay as you throw, you don't need as much money for that fee program. But there wasn't a vote that we are going to take and incorporate. I'm just asking, we were going to incorporate, everybody pays $300 a quarter, nothing along that line.
Okay, we did talk about money, and the money is that we are we have to absorb the $823,000 in some way,
Right.
shape, or form. All right, that is part of the reasoning why we were saying, and we brought in the treasurer, that we brought in the accountant, because we wanted to make sure that what we were looking at was to be able to cover that amount, because we have to increase our budget line item for the school.
Okay.
So in order for us to increase the line item to the school, amongst other cuts that we've done within town that don't have to do with salaries, it has to do with a lot of the services, a couple of the services in being smart accounting. We have cut a substantial amount of money in the budget to be able to incorporate the assessment from the school.
Okay, so we are going to have to relook at the way the articles were passed. We are
No.
going to have to relook at them and discuss
No,
the benefits.
That's not what I'm saying at all. I'm saying we're moving forward with the articles. That's what we voted on in our last meeting. And this pay for throw is a last minute ditch to change what we already voted on last week, is what I'm saying, to be very blunt and honest. All right, as far as I understand what we're presenting to the town in the special town meeting, is that we are going to implement a program to pay for trash that is equal for every resident in this town. The pay per throw, I personally feel, this is my opinion now, not the Board of Selectmen's opinion, that the school has made their budget cuts. They have added additional fees. They've added additional costs to families that live in this town to pay extra for having their children in that school. If we implement all of a sudden a pay per throw here, it is not fair to those families to now have an increased amount of money because of this pay per throw program. That's number one. It is not fair to everyone in town. My oath is to make sure that we have something that's fair to every citizen in this town, not just one population. That's number one. Number two is, I do also agree with the implementation of a pay per throw at this particular time is not appropriate, because I fear the same that Joe is saying. I fear that we're going to have our town dumpsters filled, other businesses in town filled, and people are going to leave trash on the side of the road. And why do I say this? I say this because the Board of Health has come in front of this board and has asked us on several occasions for additional funds to pick up trash that people have left on the side. And the trash that they're talking about are washing machines, our dishwashers, are things that we accept at our recycle center, but people aren't willing to pay the $20 or $30 that it is for that. So my fear is that we are going to have trash around the town until we fully implement a program. Now, I'm not against the pay per throw at all, because that's what, in a phone call I got last night, I am not against this at all. I'm saying the implementation of this should be in conjunction with the Board of Health, and the Board of Health will be discussing this contract to become due next fiscal year. This year, the Board of Health negotiated a one-year contract. This one-year contract then was put into the override. The override did not pass. Therefore, we need to come up with the funds. So we need to split the funds for everybody in town for this fiscal year, for 2025, so that we then can come up with a better plan for the town. Throwing this in the last minute, I feel, is inappropriate, and it's not fiscally responsible. And that's my opinion on it.
I just have a problem with, if we're gonna have a meeting, if we're here, we have a say. If we're not here, we should have no say. I don't believe in taking an extra bite at the apple, all right? We voted, we were here, we were present, that's the decision, and I really get upset when this kind of stuff goes on. You know, I have important things in my life I have to do. You have everybody that comes to these meetings, that's our job. And once the job, and we vote on it, that should be the end of it. And I'm done with trying to take bites out of the apple all the time. So I don't know how you need this, Mr. Chair. I make a motion, we stick to the special town meeting motions and move forward with exactly what we discussed.
Motion's on the floor, Teresa. Are you going to second?
No,
I'm going to second that motion. Any further discussion? Nothing, Teresa?
oh, I do not see this as a second bite of the apple. I see this as an opportunity. There's grants for pay as you throw. We can decrease the amount of money needed. There's all sorts of advantages to pay as you throw, to pay as you go. We've been moving very fast with this, and this is something that didn't come up originally, or maybe it did. But that's how I see it. And that we're losing an opportunity to save the townspeople money. But I at least hope that for next year's contract, the Board of Health looks at this and we get on this for next year if it appears like we're not going to have it for this year's contract.
Well, I would like to say that you said reduce the amount for the taxpayers, and I understand that. But we already have voted a contract.
You would reduce with there's grant money for pay as you throw.
What does that mean to you, Teresa?
What?
What does that mean to you?
There would be grant money that we could use to pay down the contract for this year's contract if we incorporate pay as you throw.
So we're putting grant money into a contract that we already have.
we would be able to use the grant money to incorporate pay-as-you-throw. That money could be used to pay down the budget. Yeah,
Have we applied for the grant?
I think we have to have passed pay-as-you-throw first to be eligible for the grant, but I do believe we might have somebody on the line who could give us that information.
Well, again, I don't want to go there yet until.
That's why I was keeping my mouth shut, because it looks like we're not going there. But that would be my concern, that we're throwing away money. One thing, and two, we're, so many other towns have done this. West Boylston is famous for doing this. They only pay 50 cents a bag, 10 bags for $5. They have 7,000 people. They raise over $500,000 a year. I checked with them, matter of fact, after I knew this meeting. They were concerned with bags on the side, trash on the side of the road. Never had such a problem, except for they did have the problem when mattresses happened, but never would pay as you go. So I think we're anticipating problems that we don't have. And they did say the first year, they got grant money for several years, but the first year they got a significant amount of grant money.
So I agree with you in one respect, but we're under contract with Shaw's for $823,000.
Right.
All right. Yes,
But
we are under the gun because we have to come up with that money. If we go to pay per throw in hopes that we get a grant and some other money's coming in, that's not going to help with us having a balanced budget, is my point. That's all my point is. It's not whether or not I think it's better for the town. I believe it's better for the town, but we are on the hook. We're fiscally on the hook for $823,000. That's what we really need to be focused on in order for us to move forward with a balanced budget. That's my concern, Teresa. I fully hear everything you're saying, and I agree with you, but I'm concerned that we're not going to have a balanced budget. We don't know. We haven't applied for the grant. We don't know what the grant is going to be. And we are coming down to a town meeting that's on Tuesday, and we have to come up with a balanced budget and a decision on the budget on Tuesday, and this still keeps everything up in the air. I'm going to let Joe speak.
Mr. Chair, I have a real problem here, okay? So you asked us some pointed questions. Have we spoken to anybody lately in regards to any of this? Teresa has stated, no, she hasn't. But yet
That
she
wasn't
knows
the
of the
question,
people.
Joe.
Let me finish,
Joe?
ma'am. Let me finish, ma'am.
No, you're
Right.
calling me a liar, and I will not let you finish. The question he asked, have you heard from any residents about this? That is what the question was. I have not heard from any residents. After I
May I
knew
finish?
this meeting, I made a call.
Okay, Teresa, let him finish, please.
So she knows everything that is going on, but yet she knew nothing. She has not watched our meeting. She has not been involved in any of it. But yet now at the last minute, she states she has not talked to any residents, but yet she knows the people that are on the Zoom meeting with us, which I didn't even know any of those people that come in on the Zoom meeting. I just have a problem with this. It's either we're all together or we're not. And for this to go on like this ain't the way to do this. The motion is on the floor. It's been seconded.
I would like
Joe.
to now have town administrator. I'd like to have the town
Are you going to
administrator.
allow public comment on this very important topic?
No,
Thank you.
go ahead.
I just
Okay,
Hang on, Teresa. Let Ross speak, please.
wow. We've been trying to pull together, at the direction of the board, a way to collect fees to offset the trash. And let me just back up. The draft implementation plan that I sent you was for informational basis on how it might work. Yes, there were statements in there that are incorrect, such as it was developed with the board. The board had never seen it. This was a boilerplate implementation plan, but the idea was to provide information on how a pay-as-you-go system might work. So it was not intended to say you worked on it. It was just informational basis. So my understanding from the last meeting was find a way to collect fees to offset the $822,000. At that time, I felt that a flat fee was simpler. It seemed like you just divide the 822,000 by the number of residents and send everybody a bill. Looking into it further, there's complications. What do you do when people that have dwellings that are vacant? What do you do when they're not there? I then found out about the flat fee system, which I now believe is a better solution. And if it's okay, I'll go through the reasons for that.
Well, yeah, I do want to be able to vet this out first before we go there, Russ. I really do. I understand that this document has gotten out to the public. All right, number one, regardless of how or what the situation is. And with that, there have been several people that have made comments in regards to the integrity of the Board of Selectmen in regards to this. And one of which is a former selectman. And I don't appreciate the fact that, you know, a former selectman is speaking so boldly against the Board of Selectmen right now. That's number one. Number two is, as I said to you yesterday in our conversation, I appreciate the work that you've done on it, but I felt that we were going to discuss that today before we even move forward with something like this. And that puts us in a very precarious situation for town meeting now. It's their word against ours, and I don't appreciate being put in that position. And I'm hearing from another select board member that they feel the same way as well. There was not a Board of Selectmen member in the last meeting that you had in regards to collecting or finding ways to collect the fees. And all of this transpired, and then phone calls between you and the other select board members to where we are right now. And I'm saying that I don't feel comfortable with that process, and Joe's saying it's the process. It's not what you're presenting here, and it has nothing to do with what you're presenting, but it's the process involved in it. Am I wrong in that?
No, and you're right. And the reason I'm really upset is when I seen this email come in, I've read the email. Okay, I see the draft. Next thing you know, there's other departments piping in saying that there's got to be corrections, that they don't approve what's on there. Where does other department people draw up what the Board of Selectmen have to sign for? I just don't get that. I'm dumbfounded. What this just did here is created an absolute nightmare for town meeting.
As I said, this was a draft. It was intended to start providing information on how this system might work. I think this system is bigger than, or impacts more than just the select board. So if the Board of Health chimed in and said, this doesn't work, that doesn't work, that to me is the process of working to a solution, is understanding what needs to be fixed and then fixing it. And this is sort of what we went through with this working group I had on how to collect for the trash. We started with fees and we started uncovering more and more problems. And then we found what I believe was a better solution. And I was trying to bring the board up to speed as fast as we learned something. This is what we're putting on the table. And I appreciate that if you felt like you were blindsided, I'm sorry. But we're trying to move fast because we're trying to fit a town meeting in that matches the school's schedule based upon state Mass General law, and it's happening very, very quickly. We could leave the article on the warrant for the 25,000. If we have more time after that to discuss how to implement the system, we find we don't need that 25,000, then that's no problem.
That is exactly my point, Ross. That right there is exactly my point.
I was anticipating that the select board will end up voting whatever the fee collection system is at a separate meeting, in which time you'd have time to weigh the pros and cons of a flat fee versus a pay per throw. So I thought today was just to decide whether you wanted to keep that article or not, but we can still keep the article. And at a future meeting soon, that will happen soon, work out the best way to collect and offset the trash fees.
We've already got a budget that we have to get finalized.
That's my
We
concern.
already have a contract that has been signed. All this can be well, fine, dandy. We can deal with it next year when we have to do all this. But right now, we have no choice but to pay for this. And the longer we go without collecting fees, is gonna be that much more of a burden on the residents because we gotta come up, we gotta retro, whatever. I just think we need to move forward with what we did. I do not, and no disrespect to anybody here, but I sure to hell don't like to be blindsided that the select board's name is on something that I never, ever heard about or seen about. Russ, you could have called me, could have called each one individual, say, look, this is our choice, this is our thoughts. At least give me a heads up, but don't just let me read something and then all of a sudden the world's coming to an end. I'm getting phone calls from people. I'm like, I'm just standing firm in what I voted for. This is what the town appointed and elected me for, to do what's right for the citizens. It ain't always the right thing all the time, but I feel in my heart, this is the best way to move forward. And we have made, in the 50 years I've been in this community and going to selectmen's meeting, going to town meetings, we have made some pretty stupid last minute moves. And I don't want this to be one of them under my watch.
Teresa,
Yes, I just need to understand. If we go to a flat fee per family and determine that money, we still don't get that money right away, right? But I just don't understand why you're saying one we can balance the budget with and one you can't. What's the difference with if we estimate that we'll sell 5,000 bags and make $500,000, or if we'll do a flat fee and that everybody will pay it over the year and we make $500,000? I don't understand how one balances the budget and one doesn't.
because one guarantees that we are going to be charging a fee and getting that fee one way or another. The pay per throw is, it depends on how many people actually purchase the bags. There are people that may not purchase bags that feel that they don't have to, and that's the concern I have.
But you can estimate a balanced budget based on an estimate of town size and average bags being purchased in similar towns.
Correct.
So,
But again, this is coming in on we're going into September. All right. We've had July and August already out. September is going to be out. So that's 1 quarter we're going to be out any money. If we're going to implement it, how quickly is this going to be implemented? I just think we're setting ourselves up for too much work right now. I really would like to get the budget settled so that we can move forward with a much more logical path. I also feel that I want to be able to have the input from the new town administrator that's coming in on the 26th. That's another reason why I don't feel comfortable moving forward with a pay per throw right now.
okay.
And I don't want to hear that you've talked to him because the board did not direct you to talk to him.
To the town administrator? The
Yes.
new town administrator? I don't even know his number.
Nelson Woy, you were there for the interview.
I said his number. I don't have his number.
Oh, okay. I can make sure to, Sabrina sends it out to you. So we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor?
You say must know?
Joe Shank, yes.
Chad Sexton Duranian, yes. So we are moving forward with our articles the way we have them presented in regards to this. Now we can go back to 4.1 and discuss the vote on the special town meeting. Is there any questions or concerns in regards to what has been voted on in regards to the articles?
Nope.
Nope, I believe it's up to the floor to decide.
Yep. And that's exactly how I feel too. Public comment can be done on the floor in regards to the articles. The articles are there to make sure that it's a guideline to what should be discussed on town floor. Everything that's in these articles are what can be discussed in regards to the budget, and I think that would be something of note. I also, Russ, the form that you and I had talked about in regards to the savings and the grants and all that, was that put on SharePoint, do you know?
No, because I think you and I were still working on that.
Yeah, we haven't done that. Ross and I, Teresa, have been working on, and Joe, sorry, have been working on all of the cost-saving efforts that the town has been working on over the past year, some a little longer than that. We also have outlined the grants that we've received over the last year to help defray future costs of the town. And we also have, a itemized list of ARPA funds and what we've been paying for, or what we are using ARPA funds for. And I would like to add that as an addition to the paperwork that's passed out in town meeting, if you're both in agreement with that.
I am.
I am.
Okay. Is there anything else that either of you want to have put on out there for information? Ross?
Maybe you just do this as a slide. I have a slide showing what the stabilization balance has been over the years, in case people worry about taking money out of there. I have another slide that shows ambulance receipts, in case people question taking the extra $100,000 out of that. I can send those to you, and you can add that to the slide deck.
Yep, I could do that. If you guys are in agreement with that.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else?
Just Chaz, just to put it out there, you asked if I was in agreement with all the warrant articles, and I'm in agreement that all the warrant articles should go to the floor and always should be decided on the town. But I haven't read through everything. I read through a thing, but I want to make sure none were added the last few meetings. So as always, after listening to the floor, I make my final decision.
No, that's I understand that. And
Yeah, I just wanted to make it clear when I said I agreed to the articles that I don't necessarily vote for them once I hear from the town.
And my understanding is that the finance committee was okay with all of those articles. Am I right in that, Ross?
They were somewhat concerned about the article on the trash as far as how the costs were in there, but of all the other articles they recommended supporting.
Okay. So.
And I think they will have something to say, town meeting about that, about the articles they support.
Yeah, as they of course they can. Anything else?
I'm all set.
Good.
So 5.0, right now I don't have anything in regards to ARPA projects, but I do want to let you both know that in our next meeting after the town meeting, we are going to go over all of the ARPA funding. We need to make sure that we're under contract for those fees, and I mean for those that funding. We have to be, our deadline right now is December 30th, so we need a concerted effort to make sure that we are contracted with the remaining funds. We may need to look at some reallocations in regards to that. Do you have anything in regards to 5.1, Russ?
Can I, it's in regards to opera.
Yeah.
Have we addressed the public records request that's been sent to us on the opera funding? Or where does that stand?
Yes, I sent a response to that.
So that's been answered.
5.2, reports from board liaisons. I don't really have anything right now.
I'm good.
I'm good.
5.3, announcements and communications. I don't think there's anything. I think there was, but I forgot. Next meeting is August 20th at 6 p.m. That is on Tuesday. And I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion, we adjourn 9:50 a.m.
Second.
All those in favor?
Did we have a vote? Oh, yes. Teresa Amor.
Joe Shank, yes.
Chad Sexton, Iranian, yes. Thank you.